All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another video. I've always wanted to say that. Today, I'm going to be playing you a series of clips that I've put together that I've pulled from other videos that have already done this. I just went through quite a few of them and pulled the video clips that I thought were the best or the ones that I found the most entertaining or something about them. These are the greatest stage fails of all time of the videos that I watched for about an hour or 2 hours of all time. And I found some really good ones. I think you guys are going to have a great time watching them. And as I go through them, I'm going to play them basically right now. As I go through them, I'm going to talk about them a little bit, like the fact that they're fails, we can have a good laugh. But also, I'm going to take an empathetic side that I think is good to keep in mind, that we shouldn't get, we can be too mean to these people that are failing on a stage. As somebody that has failed on a stage infinity times, you know, a lot of times there's more than meets the eye as to why failure is occurring on stage. Anybody that's done stage performance knows this, and sometimes you end up taking the fall for something that has not a lot to do with you or that's outside of your control. With that said, some of these are not that, and let's jump into that. Jump into the video. Here we go. All right, so all right, the next one's great too, but I mean, what's there to say about that? It obviously sounds pretty bad, and you can imagine what it would be like to be in the audience. You know, on some level, I just want to give props to anybody that goes out and gets on a stage and tries to do something that they love, tries to share a joy. Like, it doesn't always work out. Now, this, what I will call them out on, there is no movement. There is no movement on the stage. At the very least, you know, if they haven't dialed in their sound quite yet, the least they could do is act like they're into what they're doing. Have a little bit of fun, move around, show some energy and enthusiasm. You know, even if you're not sounding that great, the enthusiasm can go a long way. So that would be my shout out to those. If they happen to see this video, you know, that would have covered, that would have made up for a lot if they just showed some enthusiasm. But you couple the difficult sound with the total lack of movement and lack of enthusiasm, and it's pretty tough to get behind that. All right, the next one. I love how he lets that last note ring out. Some of these you got to question as to whether or not they're intentional. Like these videos are made intentionally to be bad for the purpose of delivering that kind of entertainment. They're faking it. I don't think that one was, and it is. I think I can feel okay with qualifying that as the worst guitar solo of all time, in the sense that it's like perfectly bad. It's like it just hits all the points. It's like it feels like there's genuine effort behind it, and yet it's just atrocious from start to finish. You know, I don't know what to say to the guy other than you need to practice a little bit more. But you know, if you put the time in, you're going to get better. And so at least I will give you props for getting up on the stage and going out and doing it. I feel, you know, I hope it wasn't too important of a moment, you know. if there are other band members that had invested a lot of time and effort and brought their friends and family out, and that could have you might have done a little bit of damage. But we'll leave it there. That was an epically bad solo, and now let's jump to the next one.
I see the crystal raindrops fall and believe with eyes when the sun comes shining through. Like those rainbows in my mind, when I think of you sometimes, and I understand sometimes of you. Try to tonight, we can make it if we try.
See, that's one that I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. Like they set that up. I kind of think I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. It looks so real, but it's almost too perfect, like it's scripted. But if it's real, I want to give props to that guy for getting up on stage. Look, you can't fault him for the enthusiasm that he's up there. Like, you got to be happy about that. The guy's going up there and singing, and he's excited, and he's happy to be there. And maybe his way of expressing himself just doesn't resonate very well, or people find it to be a little bit odd, and maybe that is the case. Maybe he's too excited, But it's like, really, we're going to give somebody that hard of a time over being too excited and having fun? Like, I just think, let's just be happy for the guy, and and be happy that there's somebody up there performing that's having a great time, and learn and be open-minded to that people express themselves differently. So that's how I feel. I love that video. I love how expressive he is. And then the guitar player that just whacks him, that can't take it anymore or something. It's like, but yeah, I think that one was probably faked. If I had to put money on it, I would bet that one was faked, but it's still a great video. On to the next. Alright, we got a few things to say for this one. Alright, I think for sure that one was, he was intentionally bad. And that was the whole point of his performance. But he wanted to do a performance where he was passionate and he poured his whole self into it, but it was knowingly going to be atrocious. And I think that I love the audience response to all that, because they get so into it, and they're shocked. Like, you hear them like sounds of shock and disgust, and like it's just hard to hear. And if it was hard to hear from us through our laptop speakers or our headphones, imagine it was way harder to hear actually live and in person with the amp blasting this at you, and the teacher covering his ears a little bit. And he's gonna allow for this to happen, but it's kind of. He goes right down the line of like, it's not insulting, and I don't know, it's a pretty funny performance. And then I love at the end, one of the audience members says, "That was amazing," or like, "That was so good." And it's hard to tell if that person is serious or not. I mean, I have to imagine they can't possibly be serious, but maybe they are in the way that it's comedic. But it just reminds me of a time that I performed a guitar solo that was not as bad as that, but pretty bad. And then I had somebody from an audience come up and tell me, I was part of like a trio, and it was like an empty bar, thankfully. And I played like the worst guitar solo that I've ever played in my life. It was very bad. And then somebody came up and said, "You guys are so good." And so use that as a, you know, you never know how drunk the audience is, and you never know how attentive. Sometimes the attentiveness of the audience isn't that great, and or their taste, the development of their taste is not that far along. And then that goes back to the first video, that if you just act like you're having the blast, act like you're killing it, that goes a long way. So, all right, on to the next.
I'm taking you with me. You're coming to the palace. I like your style, baby.
I love the guy in the background just dying laughing, and I love how at the beginning he's so enthusiastic the way he delivers that line. I love your style, baby, and he runs off, and it's like it's so well done, and then it's just like a cartoon or something. All right, here's the next one.
What she's doing now. So many dreams without the seams, but goes on
Okay, why did he go falsetto at the end, man? Why didn't he just stay low? Like it was tough. I think independently, if you listen to each of their voices independently, they don't sound that bad. But it's the girl has a certain aspect to her tone that it's not meshing well, and then they aren't quite on pitch. They're not that far off, but they're far enough off that it creates this difficult dissonance to listen to. And then you couple that with, it's for whatever reason they're singing it way too slow. Like the energy, the pacing of it is like they're singing a death waltz or something, like a dirge, right? So if they just picked the pace up significantly, that whole performance would have been way better to listen to. And then that guy just needed to not go for the falsetto on that, because even if he hit the wrong note in his lower register, it wouldn't have hit quite like that. That dissonance wouldn't have been so bad. But when he goes for the falsetto, it just calls so much attention to it, because there's this change, and you're shocked and surprised that he went for that, and then it calls so much attention to it, and it just poof, hits you in the face with that like perfect dissonance, like perfectly painful dissonance. All right, here's the next one. No. All right. So first of all, there's something that's kind of difficult. Like clearly that performance at the beginning with the drums, he's so enthusiastic. He's so passionate, so emotional in his performance. He gives that thing one good whack for like the exclamation point. "Ah, I just did that." It makes the performance all about him. It's too over the top. But to his credit, or to anybody's credit in that position, it can be hard to know exactly how much over the top you're being, because to some extent the experience of the sound is, to some extent when you play, you're trying to play to a way that creates the experience for people that are in a different position than you. So like if you play those acoustic drums right in front of you, it sounds so loud. But you need to play for the audience. And so the experience that the sound is, further from the stage is not the same as it is right on the stage. And so it can be a little bit difficult to find that sweet spot where you're really communicating what you think you're communicating. And so, I can throw him a little bit of an olive branch, or like maybe he didn't know quite how loud or how passionate he was being. But, the second part, I think, kind of answers that question, that he's just I start to wonder if he's not on some kind of a drug. Just being honest, I think he might have taken something before the set, and he's having the performance of his life, and to the point that he forgets that he needs to be playing, and he gets more focused on tuning his drum or something in the middle of the bass, what becomes a bass solo that was not meant to be. And anyway, we're moving on to this punk rock.
Okay, guys, I gotta say goodnight. I gotta say goodbye. Okay. I'm gonna get on my tongue truck. I'm gonna get on my big wheel. I'm gonna get on my big wheel. I'm gonna drive it down the street. I'm gonna smash it into a window. I'm gonna smash it. I'm fell out. Okay, you worry. Stop!
She screamed in silence. A sullen riot penetrated through her mind. Waiting for a sign to smash the silence with a brick of self-control. Are you locked up in a world that's been planned out for you? Are you feeling like a social tool without a use? Scream at me until my ears bleed.
That one I want to put in a special category, and that is, I just want to give those guys and the drummer some props, and whoever. I just think that's super cool. To me, that one barely even you can consider a fail. Like, it doesn't sound that great, but they've clearly put some time into it. They're trying their best, and they want, like, they're in it. They're engaged. They're emotionally invested, and I just think it's awesome that people got together and they turned a backyard with a shed into a stage and into a concert venue. And so I just want to give them big props, and I don't even really regard that one as a fail. Everyone's working with what they got, and it's pretty easy to sound amazing when you have millions of dollars of equipment and sound engineers and all that behind you. And so I think to them, I don't even regard that as a fail at all. And so I would use that one as a way to say to people to not put other people down, and try to be more empathetic and understanding of where other people are coming from, rather than just make fun of them. I mean, we can appreciate that it sounds pretty tough, but let's give them props where it's due, which I think in large part and just in general, those folks just deserve props for getting up there and doing that. And they'll get better every time they do. You've probably seen that video before. I love it. The kid drops the cymbal, doesn't know what to do, and picks. Can't go wrong with that. So he's just gonna hold it out for the whole song. Not a bad idea. That was a good call, I think. All right, this is one of my favorites right here, because this is a government band. And you'll see. They shouldn't have panned. They shouldn't show them. Don't show their faces. think that that's humiliating. You know, you look at the painful expressions on both the leaders' faces, and they're just bearing it. And then the cameraman shouldn't have shown the. It's like it sounds horrible. Like I have genuine concern of what might happen to some of the band members. Like, you know, I mean, hopefully they can keep their jobs. Hopefully nothing else happens, and because like they're representing, you know, the entire country. They're representing that president and these world leaders in this big moment, and they're just abysmally failing to the point that like any other world leaders that are watching this going on, they're like, what are these band people doing? Because they're clearly not practicing. So it just completely undercuts the faith, the respect that other countries are going to have in the country that this band is representative of, because it just shows they're not remotely doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so then it raises questions as to if the band's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, what about any other department, any other part of this organization that you call Russia or whatever country. All right, here we go. Oy. All right. That's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, I'll just wrap it up by saying with this last one, I'll use it as an opportunity to say to any bands out there, like I'm somewhat interested in getting into trying to coach or teach a middle school band or something like that. I think I just want to put a message to any bands out there. Don't underestimate the impact that you can have. You can achieve excellence at any age. I believe you can achieve a certain level of excellence at any age. And if you do, and when you do, it's inspiring to everybody that hears it. And you can see the difference when you're listening to this band, although that particular performance may have been perfect for some kind of like creepy, disturbing, weird horror movie or something. A completely perfect twist on that Space Odyssey music intro or whatever. But, you know, I see many, like I got the chance to hear a choir the other day at the city market, and I've seen many different bands, and you can hear the difference when the band is genuinely inspired, and they've put the work in, and they're motivated, they want to be there, and they want to do the best that they can. It's inspiring. It's amazing to watch. It's amazing to listen to. And so don't underestimate the impact that you can have as a middle schooler, as a high schooler, as a college person in a band. We love to watch our musicians, and you can do that. You can be an inspiration. You can make an impact on your community, on your family, at any age. And you just take it seriously and put the work in, and encourage your peers, and try to do the best job you can, because you don't know the ramifications of how you can uplift the people around you by making a wonderful music performance. It lifts up everyone's spirit, and so and just in the same way, it can be depressing. So do your best and lift everyone up and make and inspire everybody with your music. And thank you guys for watching the video, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season. And I think that's all I got for you in this video, so I'll see you guys in another one. Peace out. Bye-bye.